Welcome to Inside Scoop with Sean Emery. Every week we are examining something new, bringing you closer to companies, sectors, and themes. This recording should not be construed as a substitute for personalized individual advice from Avery & Company or any guest on the show. This is for educational purposes only and not intended to make an offer or solicitation for any companies or securities mentioned. With that, let's get on with the episode. This is an instant reaction post-Christmas day. We analyzed hundreds of apps really to gauge, what's moving this holiday season. If you follow me on Twitter @_Sean David, that's SEAN David, DAVID. I made a tweet really around the morning of. That's what I did Christmas morning for all those that care. Was really analyze, what are the top trending apps in the App Store. I think as more and more of the world gets more connected to the devices, to the things we are doing, the more information we can gather the day of Christmas. We did this every year essentially, and we made our tweet around the top apps as it was progressing throughout that morning. One of the tweets had 400,000 views on it, and I think what we wanted to do today is really look at the implications of what has transpired over the last 24 to 48 hours. Again, instant reaction to post Christmas day. All the top themes, what we witnessed, scanning through essentially the top 100, top 150 apps and see what was the winner, what was potentially less of a winner, and just some overarching trends that we think are interesting. So number one, probably or definitely has to be a repeat story here, which is the Meta Quest. Last year called the Oculus Quest. This year, the Meta Quest is number one in the App Store. We made a tweet probably, 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day. It was already up to number 5. So as half the country was awake, the other half was sleeping. It was number 5 in the country in terms of app rankings overall. Again, I'll pinpoint if I'm speaking to the category specific or all apps in general. Meta Quest was number 1 come 9, 10 o'clock, a couple hours after my first tweet. And so that has to be the clear leader here. Leading up to Christmas Day, we did make some tweets around or posts around we went and checked, Target and saw their inventory levels. They were out of stock for Quest headsets. We also did a Best Buy, and they were out of stock until January. So that says a little bit about what we should have expected heading into it. We don't know inventory to, how many units they'll sell. But I think, again, if you step back and you say, who is the leader this holiday season? It is, once again, Meta Quest. So a lot of headsets were sold. We don't know, again, if it was the Quest Pro, which is that new device that came out a couple months ago. That's much more high end. So, probability-wise, a lot less Quest Pros sold relative to the Quest 2, which is known to be one of the best, VR headsets that are out there. So a lot of those were sold. So they were the winner in all of the categories. Number two winner definitely has to be Roblox. I think they're number 1 in the gaming category. So they surged top 5 overall if you just take out category specific. And, I think what you have seen is over the last 2 years, the progression of Roblox. They have what's called Robux, which are the in-game currency. Roblox, for those that don't necessarily follow it, it's ironically, it is, what some would call the very early stages of what people are referencing as kind of a metaverse, which is, a community of digital objects and goods and services that all happen in this digital world. That is actually what Roblox is to some extent. It's really the 10 years to, 15-year-olds really actively participating in this ecosystem. I think it's 50 plus million people actively participate on a monthly basis. So again, if you just think about that for a second, Meta number 1, Roblox number 2. There's a lot of things you can extract from just those two being winners this year. Number 3, I think, has to be Amazon. Amazon, not even the shopping app, but I think Alexa. Alexa is a top 5 app. Consistently every year it surges to the top. More and more devices that we all buy and gift are Alexa enabled. So a lot of people are buying the Alexa app. Or downloading the Alexa app to power many of the stuff that they bought. Some of it is, the Echoes and the actual Amazon products. Some of it is, the ecosystem around it. But either way, whether it's their hardware or just simply being associated with Alexa to power your devices, to automate things, one of our big themes is automation. So just, Alexa is one of the big winners this year. They also have Ring, right? So Ring was a top 30 app as well in the App Store, surges every year at this time. It's consistently pushing itself higher and higher on a non-Christmas Day basis, but on Christmas Day, it definitely shoots to the top. One interesting category this year that I think, again, is broad strokes. We just put out actually our Avery letter, and one of them was really around, connected more connected things, which is leading to more data that we can all kind of consume, which can then lead to automation and, whether it's Alexa or Ring. But Fitbit, Bose, iRobot, Shark, Ember, Tile, all top 100 apps Christmas Day. It says a lot about the connected device ecosystem. Fitbit is owned by Google. That's the wearable, the watches and some of the different devices to track, movement and health. Bose, which ironically, I was looking into, the history of Bose just before this instant reaction podcast, and they're actually owned by MIT. It was gifted to from MIT or gifted to MIT by the founder. So Bose had a really good holiday season. It seems like iRobot, which back to Amazon, has been trying to acquired iRobot, and the vacuum cleaners, and kind of the device that scans, and they have a whole product line now outside of just a connected vacuum cleaner, that smart vacuum cleaner. Shark, which is the competitor to iRobot, was also a leader. Ember, the mugs, the coffee mugs. I'm sure they have more stuff as well, but again, a connected device. And then Tile, if you recall, Tile for years has been in combating with Apple around their technology and whether Apple is being anti-competitive. But either way, even with that anti-competitiveness, Tile is once again a top 100 app this holiday season. So connected, you put those all together, you get the connected ecosystem of hardware devices. That's a big takeaway. Roku. So, Roku tends to do well, it seems like, during, Cyber Monday, Black Friday. On Christmas Day, it doesn't really spike that much, but it does see progressively over the last 5 years each. I think Christmas has been higher than the last one, but not necessarily a spike. This one's actually lower or on par to last year. It's one of the first times we've seen that. So I wouldn't call it like a loser or anything, but I just think possibly you could have some stalling. Is it more TV or less? Maybe TVs were sold. Maybe more TVs that have other operating systems that are maybe not the Roku channel and an operating system. Is it just the amount of people that already have Rokus have already been penetrated? We don't know, but I think it was just an interesting data point. You would think Roku would continue to be pushing higher each year. My Tonys, I don't know what those were. I looked them up thereafter, but they were pretty high, like a top 25 app in the App Store. I looked it up, these little boxes, little story boxes for kids. Again, just throwing it out there because it did make a huge leap in the App Store. Pinterest had a really, really good Christmas Day. Generally, it doesn't spike like that on Christmas Day. Usually, like November time period, as people think about maybe what they're going to buy, make their pins and get ready possibly for the holiday season. You see more of a spike, but Pinterest actually surged pretty aggressively. If you know anything why, if there's something specific, I couldn't really find anything specific to the why. So if there's anything out there, just let us know. That'd be interesting. Aurora and Framio. I'm assuming a lot of you that are listening to this may have gotten an Aurora, digital picture frame, a Framio digital picture frame. Seems like those were two very popular gifts this year. They're not cheap, so I don't know if there was a deal that sparked the demand for them. That then Christmas morning there was some cool features with some of them where your friends could connect to your digital picture frame, and you could be in your living room and see what your friends are doing. But either way, I think it goes back to the connected device statement I said earlier. That was a big category this year, the picture frame category. It's its own little niche, but I also believe it's connected devices once again with more information. Duolingo Math, I got an alert around this morning actually, and it spiked to the top 24 of the education category. They just launched Duolingo Math this year. It's a free product, so I don't think people are giving it away for free as like a gift or anything. So I do think this is just very organic. They have a very strong TikTok following, so it could be some organic, behavior happening there for Duolingo Math. Duolingo finished Christmas Day at 100. They do have a premium product that people purchase. Usually Duolingo has a really good New Year's as opposed to a Christmas Day. So it is rather interesting that we're this early and some of their products are doing well. Last couple here is, DoorDash usually sees a big drop on Christmas Day. That seems to be holding for the last 2 years now, where I think what's important here is as they launched like convenience stores, alcohol, grocery, I think what you're seeing now is the use cases widen for something like a DoorDash, and more people are using it more frequently. And on holidays that I guess was probably pretty down periods for someone like a DoorDash. So you did not see a sharp dip in DoorDash rankings this year or last year. You used to see that 5 years ago. I think that's very important. And that is it. I mean, that is it this year. That's the main kind of key takeaways. that I think we witnessed here on Christmas Day. We're going to do another instant reaction for post New Year. There you tend to see things like workout gyms and note taking apps, and just people setting themselves up for hopefully a better year for themselves personally. And you see a lot of those type of apps surge to the top. That is it. We just put out our Avery letter, which was really around our views of 2022, how we have a contrarian view on 2023 that we think sets up well. We sent that out to investors and newsletter people. Subscribe to the newsletter on our site, the data newsletter we send out every Friday. But with that, will be more data coming out all this week as we analyze more. That'll be on our Twitter. But with that, we will let you go. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy holidays in general to everyone out there. And we will be back a couple more times before year's end on other things. But then we'll also, again, have the instant reaction post New Year. With that, we'll let you go. Have a good one, everyone.